Hey guys, I wanted to talk about my monthly favorites in a different way this month. And if you guys like this, we can do this going forward. But generally, I just kind of talk about my favorites that I used in the previous month. But there are so many products that I use that I have, formed an opinion on that aren't necessarily favorites, and they're not necessarily fails. And when it comes to fails, I like to kind of gather up a whole bunch and make a whole video dedicated to disappointing products. But I thought maybe it would be a little bit more useful, because it's a little bit more timely, to kind of talk about all of the products that I have developed thoughts on over the past month. So that would be favorites, and that would be products that are good, but they're not favorites for whatever reason, but they're not fails either. And I think most of the products I use kind of fall into that category where they're decent, but for some reason they're not favorites. And a lot of you ask me for follow-up information on things that I haul during, my PR hauls, or just when I haul things myself, when I purchase, stuff from Sephora, etc. And then of course, sometimes there's fails or disappointing products or products that didn't work out for me. So not only did I want to share favorites with you, but I just wanted to share with you in more of like a conversational way, my thoughts on all of the products that I've developed thoughts on over the past month. And I do want to start out with favorites, and then I'll move into the products that didn't necessarily make it to my favorites, but they're not necessarily fails. And then we'll talk about fails if there are any. And this month there's a couple of fails. So I'll do that last, but let's go ahead and get started with my favorites. So what I like to do with my favorites is apply as many of them to my face as possible. And then I will cut away to footage of me applying them so you guys can see the product in action. And I will do that for as many of the products that I have on. Let's go ahead and get started with my base products. The foundation that I have been loving is the Dior Forever Hydra Nude. Now, this was it a surprise? I mean, I do love Dior products. I do. But sometimes I don't know. Their foundations just aren't always my favorite. And just lately, their foundations have really, really blown me away. Their stick foundation, most recently, has been an all-time favorite of mine. I love that stick foundation. And then they recently came out with this Hydra Nude, and it definitely seemed like a foundation that would be up my alley. I have very dry skin. I don't like a lot of coverage. I just like natural light coverage kind of foundation. And anytime I see Hydra, nude, those words in a foundation, I get really excited. So I am wearing 1.5N. I think this is an excellent shade match. And the Hydra in this name is basically just to tell us that there is a very high water content in this foundation. So it is going to be very, very light. It's very cooling to the touch. And what I was actually surprised about was that there was a little bit more coverage than I was expecting. This is like a rock solid light medium coverage, and I did not put a lot of foundation on, but it doesn't look makeup-y. And that is what I love about the stick foundation from Dior and this guy. It doesn't look makeup-y, it doesn't look heavy, but it definitely does a great job like perfecting and smoothing and doing all of those things. I do have a little bit of powder and a concealer on, which I'll talk about in just a bit. But for the most part, like my forehead, this is just the foundation and a little bit of powder on top. And it just goes on so smoothly, so evenly, and it wears all day beautifully. So the tip of my nose is generally like the oiliest place on my face, and that's where foundations will break up. That's where they'll fade. That's where shine will kind of start to come through. And at the end of the day, I will see a little bit of shine come through like the tip of my nose, but it's not like the foundation breaks up or starts to fade away like unevenly. It really wears well all day, very, very nicely. So I've been really impressed with this foundation, and yeah, just so impressed with like the Dior foundations in general that have been coming out. So exciting. The other base product I wanted to talk about is this Rodial Peach Lowlighter. So I purchased this when I was in New York, and I was at the Blue Mercury, and I saw, they had a whole gondola of Rodial stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, some of you suggested me to pick up the Peach Lowlighter because I picked up the Banana Lowlighter. And I was like, oh, this is okay. I like the texture. It wears nicely. But at least a couple of you said, try the Peach Lowlighter, that you thought that it would be better. And boy, were you guys right. I like it so much more than the Banana Lowlighter. And this is a lowlighter, so it's not a highlighter. It does a very, very subtle job of brightening, but it also does a really subtle job of concealing and correcting. So it's one of those jack of all trades products, and it's actually described as a complexion enhancer, and I could not agree more. So I have been playing around with this, applying it over my foundation, under my foundation, and I'm really liking it under my foundation. So I applied this product first. I put quite a bit underneath my eyes. I knew I was going to be putting foundation over it, so I wanted to put down, like, you know, not a generous amount, but like more than I would a concealer on top of foundation. So I put some underneath my eyes, down my nose, a little bit on my forehead, a little bit on my chin, blended that out, and put this foundation on top. And I really like the very subtle, very, very subtle brightening that it does, and the very subtle concealing and correcting and smoothing, all of that. I just think like my whole eye area looks so smooth. I don't have any concealer on top of my foundation. Again, I do have a little bit of powder, which I'll talk about in just a second, but this does such a lovely job underneath foundation. I just love the look of my eye area. I just think it looks so smooth, bright without looking too white or harsh. It doesn't look shiny in any way. There's just like a brightness around my eyes, and I really, really love it. So this combination is pretty amazing, I have to say. So that's pretty much what I have on as a base. I do have a primer down. I've got the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Gold face tint on. I've talked about this a lot over the past month, so I didn't want to bore you, but I just did want to mention that's what I have on as primer. And then the powder that I have on, I'm not really ready to include it in my favorites, but it's the Chantecaille Talc-Free Loose Powder. I'm still researching and trying out a bunch of talc-free loose powders, determined to find one as good as my favorites, which are all talc-based, surprisingly. So anyway, that's what I have dusted on all over my face. I do like it. I do like this powder so far. I do have some of the Hermes bronzer lightly dusted all over. I've talked about this a gazillion times, not for this video, but I wanted to move over to blush. I have fallen in love with the Natasha Denona High Blush Cream Blush and Highlighter Duos. These, they perform beautifully, and I love, love, love the shades. So I started out by using the Sweet Cheeks, which I would say is the lightest shade. It's, you know, got a pink, like light pink blush, and then it's got this frosty kind of highlight in there. But I've moved over to this fresh mauve shade. The blush, that's what I have on, and I also have on the highlighter. Now this highlighter is kind of unique for a highlighter because it's not that frosty white in a way. It has like a gold shimmer to it. It's definitely metallic. It's definitely lighter than the blush. But for me and my skin tone, it works best kind of as a blush topper. So I tap it basically where the top portion of my blush is kind of blending into my skin here. I'm not putting the highlight down all by itself because otherwise I think it would be too deep. And I really like this. I really like this look. I just think it's very, very pretty. I think it's very becoming, and I love this shade. Now, I wouldn't necessarily personally call this mauve, but it probably is one of the coolest shades in her shade range. She has 6 of these duos, but I really like this mauve, and I do like the Sweet Cheeks. Again, if you have a light complexion like me, the Sweet Cheeks is a really nice kind of pink. But this shade is nice if you're looking for something a little bit more neutral. So the colors are wonderful. The formula is great. So I use this over the Chantecaille Loose Powder, and a lot of cream products don't necessarily work nicely over powder products, or you have to be careful. There's some cream cheek products that I have to tap on over blush, and then it's fine. But with this, I can use it under powder, I can use it over powder, I can tap it on top of powder. Today, I use this LC02 brush from Rephr, and I just blended it out like this. I wanted to really see if anything funky would happen to the powder or the foundation or anything underneath, and nothing did. It applied beautifully on top of all of that, despite all of my brushing up and down. So I love the formula, and I do love the shades of these new cream blushes. So another favorite, thanks to you guys, is this Benefit Mighty Fine Brow Pen. I'm laughing because when I just tried this in my trying new makeup video, I was not sure. I really was not sure. And I think brow makeup in general, but if you do a bolder brow or a little bit of a heavier brow than usual, it just looks so weird. And it just looked so weird to me. But so many of you commented like, oh, I like your brows. Your brows look nice. Oh, wow. So I was like, okay. All right. So I kept at it, and I think I have perfected my application of the Mighty Fine brow pen. Now, I am generally a brow gel person because it's just the easiest. I just drag that spoolie in my brow hairs and I'm done. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. So when it comes to a product like this, which is a 3-pronged, basically like a split tip pen, marker, I'm like, oh God, like how am I going to fare using this? And it's really, really easy to use. It's so much easier to use than I thought. I thought I was, I don't know, just gonna be dealing with like a winged eyeliner situation, but I just filled in a little bit here. The fronts of my brows here are a little bit spotty, and then the tails of my brows here are definitely a little bit patchy. And I don't know, I'm finding that this is even easier to use than a pencil, and I like the way my brows look. Like they look fuller, but I always feel like I see the pencil, where this, I guess because you're creating little fine hairs, it just looks so much more natural, even though my brows look to me like a lot fuller. So I'm really, really excited by this product, and I thank you guys for encouraging me to use it and that you liked the way my brows looked. So thank you very much. And oh, before I forget, I use shade 4.5, which I think is the deepest shade. It's called Neutral Deep Brown, and Benefit sent this to me, and they sent me shade 4 also, which is a little bit of a warmer brown. That one's too warm, and I like definitely a neutral to cooler brow color. So this worked out pretty well. Yeah, so that's what's going on my brows. My eyes, this Suku quad, I have not been able to stop using. So this is number 14. This is part of their spring 25 collection. I'm not even going to try and attempt to pronounce the actual palette name, but it's their signature color eyes, and it is number 14. It is sold at Selfridges, and you know, Suku makeup is impeccable. It is just made so well. And in fact, I have another product of theirs to discuss later on. But their eyeshadows are just always like perfectly pigmented. The formula is just blendable. I never have any fallout. I mean, maybe some of their like high glitter ones, yeah, I'll get a little bit of fallout. But their satin shades, their topper shades, I never have any problems. So I basically just have these two shades on today. This is all over my lid, and then this I used my finger and just tapped in the center of my lid, which adds just a little peachiness, just a little bit more sparkle, but it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous quad. And I just did like a look using all 4 of these shades in the trying new makeup video, but I had tried this quad before that video. So anyway, I was kind of acquainted with this quad already, but let me do some swatches just to show you how gorgeous this palette is. Now, there are no mattes in this palette. They're all at least like a satin, and I would say the dark brown is the most subtle satin, but then you've got this gold, you have this shade, which is like it's almost like a peachy gold. That's what I have all over my lid. And then you've got this slightly more sparkly satin peach shade, and that's what I have tapped on the center of my lid. So easy to use. If you want to use all 4 shades, this will add a little bit of drama. This too, this gold shade. Whenever I add this to my inner corner and my tear duct area, it just looks like a little bit more of like a glam look, which I wasn't going for today, so I didn't do it. But if you want to check out my trying new makeup video, I do a look with all 4 shades. It's so pretty. I use that brown like along my lash line. I love it. I love it. It's just, oh, the color story and the formula is so wonderful. So that has definitely been a favorite of mine. And then some lip products. So I got 2 Dior lip products to use during my Mocha Mousse look video. I was on the hunt, not that I don't have a ton of nude lipsticks, but I really wanted to see if I could match like that Mocha Mousse, that feeling, like match it totally. And I want to say I came pretty darn close with this beige oblique Dior Addict lip product. This has a beautiful like glossy sheen. It's pigmented obviously, but it's not like overly pigmented. It's not like a matte liquid lipstick like that. It's very glossy. I feel like this Dior Addict is sort of Dior's answer to Chanel's Rouge Coco Flash. I still prefer the Flash formula because I find it to be even more moisturizing, like it almost melts onto your lips. This is just very, very moisturizing, very comfortable, very glossy looking with beautiful pigmentation. So been loving this, and I do have that on today. And then this gloss, I'm actually surprised how much I enjoyed, and it's shade number 45. I don't think the name is down there, but it's the Dior Addict. I believe it's the Lip Luminizer. You guys will probably know better than me. This is a gloss that I just kind of stayed away from because it's like a little bit of a plumping lip gloss. It's not irritating at all, but there's a little bit of mintiness. I'm not a fan of that, so I've always kind of stayed away from these, but I could not stay away from this shade. And this on top of this, I feel like gives you such a beautiful like mocha mousse look. And the mintiness in this fades very quickly. Like it's already gone. I don't feel any of it. There's no afterburn. Is that a term for lip gloss? There's no afterburn, but I just love the shade and the little bit of sparkle that it has. If this was more pigmented, this could be a perfect mocha mousse all by itself, but layered on top of this, you get to see a little bit more of the gloss. Yeah, it just kind of completes the mocha mousse look. So anyway, I've been loving this combo. I've been loving them individually. Just wonderful. And then Suku, for their Spring 25 collection, also came out with a brand new lip formula called their Velvet Fit. And usually I stay away from things that are velvety. Velvety to me is just another way of saying matte. It's another way of saying dry. And I'm dry. I am dry and I don't like dry products. But this lipstick goes on and feels like a cream lipstick. It's so moisturizing, it's so smooth, and it is just a really interesting formula. There is number 3. That's the shade I've been using the most. It's like the pinkiest, coolest shade. And you can see that there's no shine to it whatsoever, but it feels incredible. And I feel like I've used a lot of really comfortable matte appearing but cream feeling lipsticks. The one that I remember just off the top of my head are the new Laura Mercier caviar like matte lipsticks, I think they're called. They feel great. I love the colors, but they have a fragrance that I don't like. I mean, I can bear it. Sometimes I do because I do really like the shades that they came out with, but that one has a fragrance. And I've tried other ones like a while ago when I feel like a lot of lipsticks were coming out that claimed to be matte but felt like cream, and they were really like silicone heavy. And as the day progressed, my lips would eventually start to feel kind of dry. They would start to look dry, but that doesn't happen with this. I have worn this lipstick all day and it just is so comfortable. It just continues to feel like a cream lipstick. So I'm really, really impressed with this formula. And I do really like this particular color, number 3. So nice. And I love this slim profile. It's just so easy to use, and this is refillable. So yeah, just fantastic all around. Okay, so let's move into products I just want to talk about. So I got a PR mailer from Makeup by Mario, not this last PR haul that I did, but the one before, and he included, or I should say they included, his PR team included the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in Light. Now this is not a new product, and I thought, oh, okay, they're just re-upping me on it. So this is the one that I have right here, and I've checked the back just over and over again. It's like I have to do a sanity check. Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer Light. Now I think maybe they were sending this to me because they must have redone the line. Maybe they extended to some different shades, but this is the light. And you guys, if you have any information, let me know. Like maybe they now call this something else, but this is the light that they sent me. This is very different. Very, very different. This also doesn't look light to me at all. This looks light to me. So I don't know if they've changed it up. Maybe now this is called fair. I don't know. I don't know. But I love, love, love this like cream bronzer because of the tone. I mean, it's a great formula too, but the tone is great because it's so neutral, a little bit cooling. I felt very comfortable kind of putting a light layer of this all over my face to enhance my complexion. And this, I feel like, would just be a little bit too warm. Yeah, just like a little bit too warm to put all over my face. So now this has become kind of just like a subtle cream bronzer, while the other one I felt like, hold on, I'll do some swatches. This other one just felt a little bit more natural, where this one feels like I couldn't put that all over my face. I feel like I would look very Oompa Loompa-esque. So I don't know, I just wanted to mention that to you guys, because if you loved this product in the light before, I would not pick up the light now, because very, very different tone. So anyway, I guess that's just a PSA for you. So I did want to mention that. I did also want to talk about these blushes. I'm still on the fence about these blushes. I do like the shimmer shade that I got. And if you caught my trying new makeup video, you know that this one applied really beautifully, but the matte shades, and I got 2 of them, did not apply nicely. So in that video, I used this guy, number 37. It just didn't blend out well. And I thought, all right, let's try it on another day. We'll try it on a different base. Like, it's okay. It's okay. These blushes are okay. They're nice, but I don't know. They're just not a favorite of mine. And I feel like I'm in the minority there, but I just definitely could not call these a favorite this month. Even this guy. I like it. I like it the most out of these 2. Like I said, this is the shimmer shade and it blends out really beautifully. I'm definitely going to use this, but I just don't find these to be that special. I just don't find them to be that special. I like the Gucci ones better. I like the Dior blushes better. I like the Laura Mercier blush better. My Lancome blush I like better. So these products kind of fall into, they're good, but definitely not a favorite. And I did want to talk about the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealer Micro Correcting Pencil, because I bet some of you are wondering why this did not appear in my favorites. Now, I think this is a fantastic product. I do. I really, really like what it does for the purpose that it was created for, which is pinpoint concealing. It is so great to use on little spots that just bother you, like me with my sunspots here, which don't really bother me, but if I do want like a blanked out complexion, this is wonderful. But the reason why it's not in my favorites is because I just don't spend that much time doing my makeup generally. But this will definitely add a bit of time to your makeup routine. It's not that they're difficult to use or that they're meant to take a long time. It's just the act of actually concealing teeny tiny spots that, yeah, it's gonna take extra time. And generally, the majority of the time, 99% of the time, I don't care enough to like pinpoint conceal, but I think this is an incredible product for any of you out there who want to do that. And when I talked about these products in like a trying new makeup video, many of you had your own techniques on how to do it, on how you have been doing it with your own concealers and just using a pinpoint brush, which is what Lisa Eldridge had always done before she created these pencils. This is just easy. It's really, really easy. It's a twist up pencil. It's a microfine 1.5 millimeter point. So it's just great for that specific act. Is it necessary? No, but I think it is really, really great if you find yourself doing that a lot, just sort of attacking little dots on your face. I think this could be a total lifesaver. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about these because they're not a favorite of mine, because they're not something I reached for a lot this past month, because I just don't do that. Those are the Lisa Eldridge Pinpoint Concealers. And then I did want to mention these Kosas concealers, because I did talk about these and try them on in my last Trying New Makeup video. And I just wanted to follow up. I don't think these correctors, these shades are for me. That's not to say they're bad, but I think this peach is a little bit too, I think it just ends up being a little bit too deep on my skin tone, which is so interesting because it does not look that way at all, but there's a very strong like orange cast to it. So I think it is a really probably effective corrector, and I don't have that much correcting to do. And I think this one is just way too like cool toned for me. So I did want to mention that. And then the concealers, I felt like were not quite the right shade for me either. But I thought the formula was really nice. So after that trying new makeup video, I did check out my makeup, you know, throughout the day, just sort of like checking in or whatever. And these sat really, really well underneath my eyes. They didn't, you know, like, they didn't sink into fine lines, which is my main concern with concealer. Of course, like fading away or becoming like a splotchy or whatever, that's a problem. But they didn't sink into fine lines and like age my under eyes in any way. So I was happy with the formula. I just don't think the shades that I tried out were necessarily for me. All right, and I feel like this is the elephant in the room. I don't know why. It's just in my head. But the highlighting palette from Chanel, this has not appeared in my favorites. And it's because only one shade in here actually works without having to doctor it up. Like I can of course like mix the other shades or use them on different parts of my face or whatever, but this shade down here is the only one that works for my skin tone. Here, let me do some swatches of all 4 shades. Okay, so here is the one that works for my skin tone. And then these are the 3 that are just simply too deep. Now, of course, I can use this as like a blush topper. I thought I could use this kind of as like a bronzer topper, but it's too yellow. It's too, yeah, it's just, it's too bronzy. And then this shade is just a little bit too deep, but it's not deep enough for other things. So this one is just out. This one, like I pointed out, this guy, it's the lightest shade in here. That's the only one that works for me in terms of highlighting. Now, I know you can use these as eyeshadows as well. I don't know. There's just something about this palette that I just never reach for. I don't know if it's because am I going to continuously reach for a palette when I just want one shade? I know I have in the past. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this palette, but when I think about highlighters, I just don't think about this one. I reach for my cream ones. When I've been using the Natasha Denona ones, I just use the one that's in there that has worked out for me between this one and the Sweet Cheeks duo. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the formula. Absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, I think the formula is really nice. They're a baked formula. I think the highlighter is really nice. It's very smooth. I mean, all the things. I think this is a great product, but I didn't feel comfortable talking about it as a favorite because I personally just haven't been reaching for it. So I just wanted to mention that and talk about it because, yeah, it's just weird. It's peculiar to me, right? I'm sure there's some makeup products in your collection that just for some reason or another, you just never reach for it. Not for any reason, not for any particular reason. Maybe I just need to leave it out on my vanity and make myself use it. I don't know. And then I did place an order at Addiction Tokyo. I really, really like their products and they have a talc-free powder. So I wanted to try that out. It's actually very nice. I wanted to try that out and I picked up a few other things. Now I picked up their blush. This is in Naked Veil and I wanted to be able to use it as a blush and also as a contour. And so far I've only used it as a contour. I've been meaning to use it as a blush, but I got the Natasha Denona ones. I was testing out the YSL ones, so I just haven't gotten a chance, but I do really like this formula. And I think once I get a chance to use it actually as a blush, like on the apples of my cheeks or whatever, if I like it, this will probably end up in a favorites. But I did just want to talk about how I have been playing around with that and I do like it so far. I did also get a quad from Addiction Tokyo, which I love the looks of. This color story is so beautiful. This is the eyeshadow palette, Cashmere Dream. You guys know I ordered it because it said Cashmere Dream 002. Now let me do some swatches. I don't want to call this product a fail. Oh my God, that one shade is so close to my skin color. I don't think you guys can see it. But here are the 4 shades. This one is so close to my skin tone. It's a little bit grayer, but here are the 4 shades. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Actually kind of similar to the Suku, like a little bit close, close. Anyway, love the color story. The shadows went on like a dream. I wore them all day. I was so happy until about dinner time. And I realized that my eye was irritated. And I thought, is it the eyeshadow? I was skeptical. I was like, no, it can't be. It can't be. And then I tried it again and my eye was irritated. And I think it's this sparkly shade. Now I have pretty sensitive eyes and what bothers me may not bother you, but as much as I love this quad, I didn't want to talk about it as a favorite, but I do love it. And when I've used this quad without this shade, like I've used this shade by itself and then with this a little bit or this. Yeah, so I've done this as a duo and this as a duo. My eyes were fine. So I think it's just the sparkly bits in here that bother my eyes. So I just cannot wear that shade. It's a beautiful, beautiful quad and the formula is wonderful. These, you know, blend out beautifully. I really, really love it. But I just didn't want to talk about it as a favorites because it actually irritated my eyes. So that's that Cashmere Dream from Addiction Tokyo. And then the last product I wanted to talk about, just in terms of like talking about product, is the Viseart Cyrenus, the Étendue palette. Now, I love this palette, and this palette will appear in a favorites. But I just wanted to share with you that I have not talked about this product because it has been out of stock everywhere. And while I know some of you don't mind if I talk about products that are either old or discontinued or that you can't get, the majority of you do not like when I rave about something and you can't get your hands on it because agreed, it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I just wanted to address the fact that I love, love, love this palette. I've been using this matte and this satin shade together a lot. I've been using this to kind of like deepen up things. It is gorgeous. As soon as you see this back in stock, get it. Absolutely pick it up. Viseart formula, consistent, always fantastic, just absolutely wonderful. Love it, love it. So I just wanted to mention that one. All right, and now we have reached the fails portion of the video. I've got two products. And this one is kind of like I changed my mind about because I really liked this when I got it, but it has just gone downhill. So this is the Rouge Blush. It is shade number 100, their Contour and Glow. Now, when I first got this, I took a brush to the contour, started brushing on my face, and I was like, oh wow, it's very lightly pigmented. Okay, I just built it up. It was fine. But I think it is just too hard or too dry. I think these are baked gel powder products, so I don't want to say they're pressed too hard, but they're baked too hard. And now it's developing hard pan. Can you guys see that? It's developing hard pan like right here. And now I virtually can't pick up any product. I just go in there really, really hard with a brush. And I tried using this during my Mocha Mousse makeup look video. And I pulled this out and I tried using it and I switched to something else, if you guys caught that video, because I just wasn't picking up any product. And since then, I've tried again, it's even worse. So it's just developed hard pan. And for a Dior product, I'm pretty disappointed. Of course, I can take, you know, a spoolie to it or whatever it is we do for hard pan products. But I'm like, the blushes are fine. I have one of the blush and glow duos. That one's fine. So I don't know what happened to this contour. And if you guys have this, did this happen to you or did I get a dud? Just let me know. But this has been a complete and total fail. I'm kind of upset because I really like the tone of this product. So anyway, that's a fail. And then this is like a really weird fail. This is from Victoria Beckham. These are her Posh Balms. And she sent this to me. She sent me all 3 of her shades. I think there's only 3. And I remember trying these in a Try New Makeup video and I was like, okay, but they're hard, not hard. They're like almost too thick so that it's really hard to get onto your lips. I feel like these may have been better in like a little jar where you warm it up with your finger and then, you know, you pick it up or whatever, it kind of softens over time. But in a stick, it's hard to like get it on your lips because it's too dense. I think they went a little overboard in making it like thick. I don't know if you guys can see, but do you see how it just like drags? Oh my gosh, it's not pleasant to use and I'm not going to be using these. Yeah, because it's just not even worth it. I have so many balms and stuff. So anyway, I think this formula is either just all out wrong or it should be in different packaging because I do think they'd be a little bit more successful if they were in little jars that you could like heat up. That is my monthly wrap up, my monthly recap. I don't know, we have to decide what we're gonna call this, but let me know if you like this type of video where I talk not just about my favorites, but like other things that I've tried, just highlights that I've come across over the month and fails, of course, if there were any. So let me know down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.